Hello and welcome. So, you're running Azure Local on-premises, and you really want to know what's happening under the hood, but without some massive, complicated setup? Well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break down a super streamlined, automated way to get that monitoring up and running.
So, here's what we're diving into. First, we'll talk about the big problem, that hybrid cloud blind spot. Then, we'll look at the awesome open-source tools that can fix it. We'll see how one single script automates the whole thing and walk through just how simple the setup is. And then, the fun part, the dashboards, before we wrap up with some tips on sizing and keeping everything safe.
You know, if you're managing a hybrid environment, you know this feeling. You got all this powerful gear running right in your own building, but trying to get a clear, real-time picture of what it's doing, that can be a huge, huge challenge.
So let me just ask you, how do you really know what's going on in there? I mean, are your workloads running at their best? Are you about to smack into a resource bottleneck? Without the right tools, let's be honest, you're kind of flying blind.
And what we're talking about here is Azure Local. You might remember it as Microsoft HCI. It's this fantastic solution that basically stretches the power of Azure right into your data center. You get the best of both worlds. But all that power doesn't mean much if you can't see what it's doing. That's why getting your monitoring right is just absolutely crucial.
So how do we get those eyes and ears on our infrastructure? Well, the great news is you don't need some complex, crazy expensive system. Nope, we can build a totally world-class monitoring platform using a powerful trio of open-source tools.
And that trio is the TIG stack: Telegraf, InfluxDB, and Grafana. These three work together perfectly to collect, store, and then visualize all your performance data. Just think of it like this: the collector, the database, and the dashboard. Simple as that.
Okay, first up, we've got Telegraf. This is our data collector. It's a super lightweight agent that you put on your Azure Local host. Its whole job is just to gather up all those vital stats, CPU usage, memory, network traffic, and just pass them on to the next piece of the puzzle.
And that next piece is InfluxDB. This is our powerhouse database. All that raw data that Telegraf scoops up gets sent here, where it's all neatly organized, time-stamped, and ready to be queried in a split second. It's basically the central library for all of our performance data.
And finally, the last piece, Grafana. Oh man, this is where the magic really happens. Grafana reaches into InfluxDB, grabs all that data, and turns those boring streams of numbers into these beautiful, easy-to-read visual dashboards. It's our window into the health of our entire system. Now I know what you're thinking. Setting up all three of those tools, making sure they're secure, getting them to talk to each other, it sounds like a ton of work, right? Well, that's where the hero of our story comes in, a script that is basically the easy button for this whole deployment. Yep, the whole solution is one single, incredibly powerful PowerShell script. And the best part? It's available for anyone to grab from the Microsoft MSLab repo on GitHub. We gotta give a huge shout out to the original creator, Jarmir K, for putting this amazing tool together.
Now, the original script was built for a multi-server setup, but here's a pro tip that makes this even easier. You can tweak it to run the entire stack on just one server. You just set these server name variables all to the same machine name, and boom, you've got a super compact and efficient setup.
So, what's it actually take to get from zero to a fully monitored system? Well, thanks to that script, what seems like it should be really complex actually boils down to a super simple 4-step process. Step 1, get your server ready. We're just talking a standard, fully patched Windows Server 2022. Step 2, pop open that script and just tweak a few variables to match your setup. Step 3, run the script section by section. And finally, Step 4, just double check that everything's running and data is flowing. It's really that methodical. And you won't believe how much work this one script does for you. I mean, it downloads all the software, it builds a whole certificate authority, it pushes out SSL certs, sets up firewall rules, it even deploys the Telegraf agents to all your cluster nodes for you. This is the kind of stuff that would take hours, maybe even days to do by hand, and it's all done in minutes.
Okay, the setup is done, the automation has worked its magic. Now it's time for the really good part, the payoff. This is where we see all that raw data get turned into real, actual insights.
And this is what it's all about. Grafana doesn't just throw numbers at you, it tells you a story about how your system is doing. These dashboards take that flood of metrics and turn it into a clear, easy-to-follow narrative about your system's performance. You can spot trends and potential problems with just a glance. And what's so cool is that you don't even have to start from scratch. There's a whole set of pre-built dashboards made specifically for Azure Local. You can get instant visibility into your cache, host health, Hyper-V metrics, network, storage, your whole VM fleet right out of the box.
And getting these dashboards into your Grafana is ridiculously easy. Seriously, you just go to the import function and you either upload the dashboard's JSON file or just paste in its ID from the public Grafana website. It takes like a few clicks and you've got a professional-level dashboard ready to go.
Okay, before we wrap things up, let's talk about a couple of practical, real-world things. To make sure this whole solution is solid for the long haul, we need to think about sizing our server correctly and, of course, having a good backup plan.
And you might be surprised at how little hardware you actually need. For a light to medium workload, you can run this entire thing on a single Windows Server 2022 VM. We're talking just 6 CPU cores, 16 gigs of memory, and a 120 gig disk. That is an incredibly small footprint for the massive value you're getting back.
And keeping your setup safe? Super easy. For Grafana, you literally just have to copy its main config and database files. And for InfluxDB, there's a simple little command line tool that creates a nice, portable backup of your whole database. No complex procedures, nothing to worry about.
So let's just boil it all down. With one PowerShell script running on one server, you can deploy a powerful, secure, totally automated open-source monitoring stack. What you get is the kind of deep visibility into your Azure Local environment that you absolutely need in today's world.
And that brings us right back to the big question. This whole process gives you the ability to finally see everything that's happening inside your on-prem cloud. So with that newfound visibility, what are you going to fix first? What performance bottleneck? What inefficiency are you going to go after and optimize? The power is officially in your hands.